Okay, good morning, everyone. Once again, this week is week 9, and this is our second session on climate change. And for today, we have presenters representing group 4, 5, 6, and 7. And as mentioned earlier, our presenters will present in this order. We'll start off with Anel. After Anel, we'll listen to Teddy. After Teddy, Matilda, and Christina will conclude our session for today. So without further delay, I now hand over the virtual microphone to Anel. Anel, please go ahead with your answer to the assigned question.
Hello, can you hear me? Good morning, Mr. Yagira and class. As the representative for Group 4, I will be answering question 4, which reads, Golding talks about climate clubs in the Pacific. What is your view about climate clubs? This question is based on Nicolette Golding's book chapter titled Marshalling a Pacific Response to Climate Change. In order to answer the question, we have to firstly define the term climate club first. Golding 2015 defines climate clubs as a group of member states that share commonalities in terms of climate change and sustainable development. An example of a climate club would be the Alliance of Small Island States. This climate club consists of 39 member states, including Papua New Guinea. The purpose of this particular climate club is to address climate change and sustainable development amongst countries that share commonalities such as landmass, population size, geographical location, etc. Now, to answer the question, what is your view about climate clubs? Golding 2015 stated that initially, these climate clubs were created to help facilitate the implementation process of the climate change and sustainable development policies set by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC. We think that climate clubs are important and crucial for the implementation of climate change policies because each state will prefer to take actions that will best suit the national needs. This is further elaborated by Golding 2015 in her book, where she stated that as processes in the UNFCCC shift towards implementation and a sector-based approach, Pacific cohesion is becoming tested as Pacific Island countries become increasingly more active in areas that appeal to their own national agenda, as opposed to a common regional agenda. Despite being established as the core institution for climate change, the UNFCCC has increasingly been deemed as a mechanism for goal setting and not implementation. So the UNFCCC is a body of the United Nations that deals with formulating and implementing policies to combat climate change and promote and practice sustainable development. However, rolling out the implementation process to climate clubs are good because it is better for a state to partner with other states that are within the same geographical location. The reason being that it is likely that they are facing the same climate change and similar sustainable development practices. It is easier to come up with solutions because they share a common understanding of the effects of climate change on the people and the environment. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Anel. And before we now move on to Teddy.
Can you hear me? Good morning, Mr. Yegura and everyone. I will be representing my group to present. So our question reads, according to Qatar, why coalitions are considered an integral component of the climate change regime? Firstly, let us define coalition. According to Britannica, coalition in politics and international relations is a group of factors that coordinate their behavior in a limited and temporary fashion to achieve a common goal. With that definition in mind, we move on to answering our question. Coalition plays a crucial role in shaping climate governance, bringing together various actors and groups and bringing various spheres of activity related to climate issues. According to George Carter, coalitions are an essential component of the climate change regime. Their very existence creates a dual structure in the regime. Issues are negotiated at the coalition level first, before common positions are presented in a COPs, and subsidiary bodies meeting. These coalitions unintentionally become clearinghouses or filters for key position, rallying support for major submissions. The New Pacific Diplomacy 2015. Example, the Alliance of Small Island States is an intergovernmental organization which was established in 1990 during the Second World War Climate Conference in Geneva. It plays an integral role in carrying out advocacy for small island states and influencing international environmental policy. One of its priority area of advocacy has been global island states in the Pacific. In this regard, the Alliance has been closely linked with climate policy and specifically with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. To the summary, coalitions serves as an integral component of climate change regime, fostering cooperation between various groups and organizations, influencing policy and driving collective efforts towards a more sustainable future. That's all, and thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Teddy, and once again, thank you, Matilda. If you have questions or comments for both presenters, you can note down your questions, comments, and share in the forum for this week. So now we will move on to the next two presenters on our list. It's Matilda and Christina. So let's listen to Matilda.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning, Mr. Yagura and everyone. On behalf of the Group 7, I will be presenting our answers to the given question, which is, according to Carter, what is the significance of PNG's membership in the Coalition for Rainforest Nations? Before I go straight into answering the question, I would like to give a brief background information about PNG's membership in the Coalition to Rainforest Nations. Firstly, what is PNG's membership in the Coalition for Rainforest Nation? According to PCA Mining PNG 2019, in an article published, PNG leads Rainforest Coalition, which states that countries or group of the Rainforest Coalition is comprised of developing nations with tropical rainforest resources, whose objectives are supported by industrial nations, proactive NGOs, leading academic institutions, and international bodies. So to my question, according to chapter 17 by Carter on page 211, it gives a clear definition of what the coalition is about, and also it gives the reason why PNG's membership in the coalition is of great significance. Now, as stated by Carter, Coalition of Rainforest Nation, or CFRN, was founded in 2004 and brings together tropical rainforest developing countries to collaboratively reconcile forest stewardships with economic development. Of the 41 members, Fiji, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and Papua New Guinea are drawn from the Pacific. The coalition operates as a forum to facilitate Papua New Guinea, concise among participating countries on issues relating to the among the issues related to the domestic and international frameworks for rainforest management, biodiversity conservation, and climate stability. The work of the bloc has been instrumental in the establishment of establishment of reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation or the REDD program, which was vigorously negotiated as the Bali Action Plan. The success of the REDD plan owes much to the technical appeal of Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister, late Michael Somare, and Papua New Guinea's Special Envoy Kevin Conrad in the Bali COP of 2007. The breakthrough moment when Kevin Conrad called out the United States, "If you are not willing to lead, then get out of the way," has been described as the meek of that rod incident. This incident is considered one of the significant and historical move taken by PNG as a Pacific Island country and as a developing country against US, which is considered as a superpower. Therefore, we would like to think that through this action, PNG gained more prominence in the coalition, and as the world's third largest rainforest covered nation, taking lead in such coalition and to drive the agenda forward makes PNG an important member of the coalition. Currently, PNG is the chair of the coalition, taking lead among the global rainforest nation or the coalition. The chairmanship role is a significant milestone that is focused on PNG assisting in climate change and managing in environmental sustainability in forestry areas in the country as well as among its coalition members. One of the significant achievements in PNG's rainforest conservation effort, as stated by PR Newsway 2021, was the successful slowing down of the pace of deforestation in 2014 to 2015, after bringing annual deforestation level down to an annual average of 0.55% over a 13-year period. According to a report published by United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC. This is one of the milestone achievements for PNG as a developing nation and as a member to the coalition. In conclusion, the coalition helps tropical government, communities and people responsibly manage their rainforest, protect against certain threats like climate change, loss of biodiversity, and to provide a safe habitat and sustainable livelihood. As a developing nation and a Pacific Island country among the industrialized countries, it speaks volume about our significance as being a member to the coalition. PNG is not just a member to the coalition, but a chair to the coalition, and that gives great significance because as a developing nation within the Pacific, we represent Pacific both regionally and internationally. That's why it gives great significance to us as even though we are a Pacific Island and a developing country, we have this great significance because we share the coalition. I think that's all from our answer.
Okay, thank you, Matilda and your group for a very interesting answer. And likewise, if you have any questions or comments for Matilda, please say in our discussion forum. Now, the final presentation will be about climate diplomacy. And this is a very interesting or important concept that all of you need to take note. And apart from climate public diplomacy, we also have climate clubs. So these are two very important concepts from this week's list of questions that we need to take note, define, and understand how climate clubs work and how they fit into the whole scheme of working with other states and conducting climate public diplomacy in order to address our major security threat, that is climate change and its disastrous effects. So our final presenter will talk more about climate public diplomacy. Please, Christina.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay, good morning, class and Mr. Yagiora. On behalf of Group 6, I'll be presenting and answering our question 6, which reads, how does Qatar define climate public diplomacy? So now, before we answer that question, let's define what public diplomacy is. So according to Nancy Snow 2020, and I quote, public diplomacy is a subfield of political science and international relations that involves the study of the process and the practice by which a nation, states, and other international actors engage the global public to serve their interests, end of quote. So now in this case, the coalition is engaging the global public to serve their interest, which is to advocate for climate change. So now they will engage the public, the global public. So Qatar writes that individuals and interested groups have become more connected to the progress of the negotiations due to the advent of new information and technology, which allows for mass communication. Instead of relying on traditional media to communicate with their audience, they have utilized public diplomacy or e-diplomacy tools, which have allowed them to become more innovative in their diplomacy to inform their audience on a global scale in real time. So for example, if there is a meeting in New York, they would just have it on Zoom, or they would just have it on Zoom rather than flying to New York. Or if there's a conference, they can just go live on social media or various social media platforms and provide the link to their websites for more information. In conclusion, Qatar defined that climate public diplomacy in a more modern and technological manner in which mass media communication is involved in utilizing the public and e-diplomacy tools to reach a global audience. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Christina. If you look at George Carter's PhD thesis, it's very interesting. He used the Talanoa method for data collection or storytelling. So what he did was he flew to the different meetings all around the globe and then had coffee, talked with people informally at airports and cafes and outside the meetings during the recess or breaks. And that's how he collected his data about climate change and climate clubs and climate public diplomacy. And he used the data to write about climate change or answer his research question in his PhD thesis. So his PhD thesis is online. If you are interested about his work, you can Google him up or use Google Scholar, Google up his name, and then you'll see his thesis. But he is now one of the leading experts in the study of climate change in the Pacific region. So thank you, Christina. Thank you, Matilda, and Teddy, and Anel. That brings us to the end of our session for today, session number 2, week 9. And we will move on to our third session next week, Monday, and listen to our first 3 presenters. So if you have any questions or comments for our 4 presenters today, once again, please share in our discussion forum for this week. Okay, so that's all. Thank you everyone for attending. You all have a pleasant Friday and a good weekend, and see you back on Monday in one piece. Huh? Don't get lost along the way on Saturday or Sunday. Okay, that's all. Now continue to read about climate change. It's a very important security issue that is affecting all of us, and you'll see that it's featured in our national security policy as well as the overall security framework for the region. What's the major security PIF security strategy? I can't remember, but When I do remember, I'll let you people know. The one put up by Pacific Island states. And it's also part of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs. So climate change is a very important security issue that we all need to discuss. And US future leaders hopefully find solutions to address the issue of climate change and security threat. Okay, that's all. Bye for now. And I'll upload all the audio and the video on to our respective platforms.